Hey Mark, we're here again looking at the good newspaper. This time it's for June. What do you find good about this month?
Oh, a lot of good news in the sports. I love the sports sections and the two stories in the sports sections. And also this story about a teenager who was quite skeptical and his journey over months to a life-transforming decision. That was good news.
Yeah, well, for me, I was just amazed at all these different celebrities who believe. There's James Bond, Pierce Brosnan, BONO heavyweight champion George Foreman. Very, very interesting. And on the front page, a lady called Shirley, who's been working in Brazil and for an organisation called ARCA, and I thought, hang on, I recognise that name, and I know the person who worked with her, a lady called Mo, who's been in my church for many years. So it's very interesting to see this is from a real person in a real place. So Mark, over to you. Tell us a bit more.
Yes, I really like the story of George Foreman because I grew up watching this man box against Muhammad Ali, a great champion. But this is a story that focuses on after one of his heavyweight fights, he had lost to Jimmy Young, and he was in the locker room feeling like he was going to die. And I watched a video of him talking about what was going on in the locker room during that time. And one of the things in this video, if I recall correctly, he was saying, come on, you're George Foreman, you can shake this. He was feeling so bad. But the story goes, as he lies on the training table after the fight, feeling like he's going to die, he's desperate, and he begins to make deals with God. And one thing he tells God is, God, if you get me feeling better, I'll donate all the money from this fight to charity. And he distinctly hears this voice from God, which says, I don't want your money, I want you. And that led to George Foreman's conversion right there on the training table, there in the locker room after the fight. And the transformation, and I know about this transformation because I followed George Foreman, and he was a transformed man. And from an image that he thought he had to project as a heavyweight champion to becoming a gentle giant, working with the underprivileged and setting up all different charities and organizations, and eventually becoming a pastor. It is a story of transformation that I'm sure will challenge you. Does your life need transforming? There's many things we can turn to for transformation, but you read the story of George Foreman, you read other stories in the Good Newspaper, and you realize there's an eternal transformation that comes only from Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ transformed George Foreman's life, can do the same for you. Over to you, Colin.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, that phrase that you said there, I don't want your money, I want you. Just hearing that from God, what a transformational thing. Because most people I see out in the world, they're all trying to prove themselves, either in what they do, what education they've got, or how good they look. To be loved for who you really are, only God can do that. Only Jesus can do that. Isn't that amazing? And the story that caught my eye, on the front page, a lady called Shirley, who had a transformational experience of God, and made a decision to be a committed Christian. And that's not an easy option. Some people I speak to say, oh, well, you're a believer because it's easy, it's comfortable, and you're a bit of an insurance policy. But you've only got to read a story about someone like Shirley, who, when she became a Christian, she said she surrendered her life to Jesus. And then she felt God say to her, you've got to go to Brazil, work among street kids, and be working among gangs, and she had to hide from gangs at one point, and she had to sleep on a hospital floor for a couple of days because she was looking after a child that was dying. So much hardship and trouble that she went through for many years. But she said it was a transformational thing for her. There's something about doing something for God, something about giving out, something about not just being passive and sitting in life, that God rewards you so much more. He gives you back so much when you give out. He really does. And she talks about that through this experience of all these trials and stuff, and doing these wonderful things with street children. Shirley says she got to know God better, and he became more real. And what about you? Do you think God's there? Do you not think he's there? Well, you're not going to know how real he is unless you step out, surrender your life, and take his call. He calls you to something in life. You know, it may be a doctor, it may be a street cleaner, it may be to go to Brazil or be in the UK. But you find God's call for your life, and you'll find that peace and abundant life that Jesus offers. That's a challenge to you, isn't it? Mark, over to you.
Thanks, Colin. This is life transformation. It's when your life is transformed and you pass that transformation on to others. That's what was highlighted in the two stories in this month's Good Newspaper. Life transformation and helping others. And in return, as you give out, you are even more fulfilled, full of peace and love and joy that you just can't get from living a self-centered life. Be challenged, be encouraged by this month's Good Newspaper.